how you have used the concept of gratitude and EFT together.
It's just saying don't deny or negate that you're struggling with something. So address that with regular EFT. It starts to move out of the way. Then go ahead when you feel ready, do the gratitude.
What inspires you to, write this book?
In fact, I was a procrastinator, people pleaser, perfectionist, struggled with my weight up and down, neglected my self-care. So I had all of them. So in the book, what I talk about is that sabotage behavior is to keep us safe.
And what if one doesn't know what he or she wants next in life? How EFT can help there?
Well, part of the yes code is getting clear. And part of getting clear is removing the blocks you might have to being clear. Someone breaks up in a relationship and a month later they've head over heels. Oh, now I found the one. It's like, no, you didn't. You just found someone else is going to do the same thing because you haven't healed your fear of abandonment.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you so much for joining this conversation, the talk show Extreme Gratitude. And I'm really, really grateful and happy that you are with me today. And we'll be talking on EFT and so many things. So thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, David. I'm thrilled to be here with you and talking about one of my favorite topics, extreme gratitude.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so before we go into EFT and also your recent book that is Yes Code, I was going through your website, web store, and I found that you have a book or probably some videos about Project Gratitude. Okay, so would you like to talk about that? What it is, because it is aligning with the theme of the show.
Well, I found that people think it's a great idea to use gratitude and a great idea to express gratitude, but all these issues from their daily life or what's going on get in their way. So the Project Gratitude initially was to say, and I have this stress in my life, and I'm also grateful. I started the gratitude tapping in the EFT field, just taking it that direction. So thank you, universe. I'm grateful for this, even though I have this stress, or maybe someone's in grief, or maybe someone's got job issues, at work, whatever's going on, we can do both. And I find that people mistakenly say, I can't be grateful because this bad thing is happening. You can be both. You can acknowledge and validate what's going on and turn it around and start to be grateful. So that was the original recordings of Project Gratitude are about that. And then it turned into a course and a series and so on.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, first time I'm hearing this kind of distinction. So, well, it will take some time for me to, digest this idea, but wonderful. Okay. In your practice so far, Carol, I would like to know how you have used the concept of gratitude and EFT together. Okay. And what kind of, solutions or, you have seen in your patients or your, clients. So have you tried to use both concepts together?
Yes, in the same way I did in that program. So we still address the initial challenge that someone comes to me for. I'm upset in a relationship, they say, or they've got something going on at work, or they can't lose weight, whatever the issue is. We start there and then slowly move to the gratitude. Some of the positive statements, I don't know if you know this, but the first 15 years of EFT, nobody did anything positive. They were just focusing on the issue. They'd clear the issue, right? And then the positive would naturally come up. But then a lot of people objected to focusing on what they would call a negative feeling. So they came in and stopped focusing on the problem and started doing positive statements only. And it didn't work that well, right? Because they're just putting positive statements on a real challenge that we need to pay attention to. So that's when I started introducing gratitude tapping and thank you tapping and saying, let's still validate what's going on. Then when you're ready, we can move to the gratitude. People were doing it too quickly. Like, oh, no, I'm fine. I feel good. And it didn't feel good. So it didn't land. So I make sure we've addressed the initial problem first, and enough times, go around once or twice or however many we need to, before I start having them say, I feel grateful for this, thank you, universe, or, how I lead them through that. So what happens is when you reduce the challenges enough, they feel ready for gratitude and they feel excited. So I did it with a new client the other week, and he said, this is different. Wow, this is different, because he could admit and say that he was still upset about something else. And he said, I am grateful. You're right. To come together. So people just enjoy the feeling. They like how it feels. They like separating their life into, this is what's bad and this is what's good. They like merging and integrating both of them. So I love it. I love the practice that way.
Yeah. So while you were speaking, I was just thinking that, what you're trying to say is that first one should acknowledge the challenges, right? And then the gratitude part comes. But don't you think it is, contradicting with the first thing that you say that, okay, even though I have this problem and I'm grateful. So did I understand it correctly, or both are different concepts?
No, it's the same concept. It's just saying, don't deny or negate that you're struggling with something. Address that with regular EFT. It starts to move out of the way. Then go ahead, when you feel ready, do the gratitude.
Okay.
Now, I have done with people simply the gratitude list. The gratitude list tapping or the thank you universe list while you're there tapping, and they love it, but it doesn't take away what's going on in their life. Why would they come to a counselor or a psychotherapist to deal with things? It's because something's going on. Something serious is going on.
Okay, fine.
I don't know if I answered that.
Yeah. I thought you were saying that, okay, one should directly, go to the gratitude rather than, acknowledging. But I'm saying that, okay, I understood that first acknowledgement and then gratitude, right? So, okay, fine. Now coming to, your book, the recent book, Yes Code, the title is, right? And it is, yes, about, transforming sabotage into self-belief, right? So I would like to ask you first question, what inspires you to, write this book, and why this particular title only?
Yes. So transforming sabotage into success. So the seven, what I think are the seven top self-sabotaging behaviors that everybody gets involved in. And I had all of them. In fact, I was a procrastinator, people pleaser, perfectionist, struggled with my weight up and down, neglected my self-care. So I had all of them. So in the book, what I talk about is that sabotage behavior is to keep us safe. What we do is we always criticize ourselves. Oh, I shouldn't procrastinate, or I shouldn't be involved in addictions, or I shouldn't do something. And that criticism does no good. What you need to do is ask the right questions to find out, why would you procrastinate? There's an upside to it. So what I went through is my coaching process, which is the Yes Code, how to get super clear on what you really want. Why aren't you there yet? Asking the right questions, right? What's the upside of maybe not being successful? What's going on for you? What are you protecting? Why are you keeping yourself safe? Let's say someone plays under the radar, right? They play small, right? Well, there's a reason. There's an upside for that. And people say, no, I hate myself for it. Well, you may hate yourself for it, but that's not helpful, and that's not useful if you want to use tapping. You want to find out, what are you afraid of? Clear, we do the clearing step in the Yes Code. Clear your emotions, change your limiting beliefs, which will change your behavior, right? And you get different results. Our culture is very obsessed with behavior, right? Clean up the clutter, lose the weight, do something different. And if you don't address your emotions or your limiting beliefs, nothing will change. So I go at it in the book towards the feelings and the beliefs first, right? Then the behavior will change, and then your results will change. So the Yes Code, the final step of the Yes Code, is to get to that place where you are inspired and you know what your quote next yes is, right? So you know exactly what you need to do next. Instead of doing something impulsive or doing something out of fear, you want to tune in and be super clear and know what you need to do next.
Okay. My two questions on this particular explanation. One thing is, I totally believe that criticism doesn't help, because I keep on, referring to Louise Hay's, Love Yourself YouTube video. And she mentions about, why loving the self is enough and criticism one should never do, right? And so I totally understand that part. Uh, is your understanding about EFT also, you fully endorse this concept about, no criticism at all, right?
What I'm saying, it's not about EFT. What I'm saying is when we do a behavior we don't like, we tend to be mad at ourselves.
Right.
And my point, it's not useful. It's
Mhm.
not useful. You're not going to get anywhere. So like Louise say, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to change. And to do EFT really efficiently, get to the feeling or get to the belief.
Pardon.
Right.
Okay.
Get to that feeling. Criticism isn't a feeling. Criticism is a behavior. The feeling is you feel inadequate or feel unworthy or feel mad at yourself. That's okay. You'll get somewhere further with the tapping if you do that,
Mhm.
instead of just, oh, I shouldn't be someone who procrastinates, or oh, I shouldn't do this.
Mhm.
We have a lot of shoulds. So we
Mm.
have a lot of shoulds.
Okay. Okay. And what if one doesn't know what he or she wants next in life? How EFT can help there?
Well, part of the yes code is getting clear. And part of getting clear is removing the blocks you might have to being clear. When you're clear, everybody better watch out, because when you're clear, you make really good decisions, you do move forward, and you're going to rock the boat. So how EFT can help is still reduce any blocks you have to being clear. So I go back to the same questions. If someone says, oh, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, I'll ask, what's the upside of being unclear? How does that help you? And they say, oh my gosh, because if I'm really clear, someone's going to be mad at me. If I'm really clear, I might leave my job. They answer that way. If I'm really clear, I don't know if I'm in the right relationship right now. Right? Then got the fear that we can use the tapping on, very, very efficiently.
Wow, that is, it immediately felt me like, a conversation kind of a, razor's edge conversation, because, it takes you to the edge, and you are absolutely right that, if I'm very clear, then I might take such steps, and I'm really fearful of that. So
you got it. You got it. And I didn't know that until I started working with people around clarity. And I was so surprised. They wouldn't do their homework. They wouldn't do their tapping. They'd forget to do their meditation. And I'd say, what's going on? Because you came to me to be clear, to make these next steps. And they would finally say, because I'm clear, I'm going to rock the boat so badly at work or at home. So I started hearing that a whole lot, looking into that as a concept, and it really changed my work, and then developed into the yes code. And so we always have to look at, why are we protecting ourselves from being visible? Why are we protecting ourselves from being successful? So the subtitle of the book is Transforming Sabotage into Success, because you can do that once you find out why you keep protecting yourself with any of the sabotage behaviors. I just use the top 7 that I know. There are many other behaviors also that people use that are sabotaging.
In your practice so far, Carol, like, what do you see nowadays in this time? Like, what is the major thing that people are struggling with? Is it a relationship, or finance, or overall the world? What is the vibration that you are getting?
I'm getting the vibration that people are very frustrated that they don't feel confident and settled and successful, and they don't feel deserving of it. So they come to me and say, I'm really in my own way. I think I have the smarts. I think I could do this, but I keep watching myself not take the steps. So success issues and abundance issues is what mostly people come to me for. So I see that a lot, where people are just frustrated. They're like, why am I doing this and not doing that? Why am I not getting ahead? Because they have the training or they have the skill set, but they're still holding themselves back. So really, that's what I'm known for, is people come to me when they're holding themselves back, and I help them break those barriers So they just move the rocks out of the way and they can move forward.
Okay. Especially in India, if you see, like the people are quite gradually people are opening up with this kind of new concepts of energy healing and EFT tapping and all. How would you explain to Indian what EFT is? Very simple terms.
Okay, that's great. So the simple way I would say it is it's a stress relief technique. It's like editing a computer document. You have to bring up the document in order to edit it. So if I send you something, I have to open up the document, edit it, and send it to you. That's what we're doing in our brain. What we're doing is accessing the stress response, the fight or flight response, opening it up. While it's open, and how do we open it up? We're thinking of or talking about the problem, our stress. You're pairing it with these calming signals that you're sending to the brain. So we can talk about Chinese acupuncture and say it's based on that. We can talk about the acupoints. We can talk about meridians. But what makes sense to people is, oh, you're calming me down at the same time I'm thinking of something that upset me. Oh, okay. All right. And then they feel that right away anyway. So they know that that's going on.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good enough explanation, but when I try to make
that helps. But at the same time, I have a question regarding, if it is a simple technique like opening up a brain, or opening up a document, it's like open brain surgery. There are chances that it doesn't get turn out to be a successful also, or do you think it always works?
Well, EFT works if you have a very clear target, if you have a practitioner or doing it yourself who really knows what they're doing, and keep following the procedure. So what we're doing is getting the person to feel and be in the state that they're upset about. You can't do it while you're watching. I mean, you could do it while you're watching TV, but you're not clearing something. So what we're doing is bringing up that file, and the person says, yeah, I'm upset about it. You know how this works, right? Oh, I'm a 7. When I think of talking to my boss, ooh, I feel scared, I'm a 7. And while that's open, you're stressed out. You're at a 7. We do the tap. So if it doesn't work, it means someone's on the wrong target, or they're spacing out, they're not paying attention, they're kind of distracted from their body and mind, or the person, somebody doesn't quite know how to lead them through the procedure themselves or somebody else.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about relationship. Does it always work? Tapping always works in resolving relationship conflicts, or what are some limitations that you see EFT considering the relationship part of life?
Well, in relationships, remember, people choose partners that are not a good match based on their family history, based on what's familiar. So someone who's raised by alcoholics might choose an alcoholic, right? Someone who's raised by people who are emotionally unstable or unavailable, they might end up in a relationship with someone who's also emotionally unavailable. So EFT can't fix that. But what EFT does is calms down the reactivity. It calms down the stress reaction so that those two people can talk and communicate. And they may end up communicating and saying, we're not a good match. I talked to someone yesterday who said, yep, it was a good idea, but we were not a good match. She and her partner. So it's not going to fix a bad match. It's not going to fix two people who really honestly shouldn't be together in a romantic relationship, right? It's not going to fix if your boss is a narcissist. It's not going to fix that. What it does is calms you down so that you get resourceful and smart, and you start having reactions that are less, upsetting and less reactive. We're all overreacting about everything. So that's what it really does in relationships. So it gets your brain back online, because if someone's upset or fighting or scared, they go into their primitive brain and they're not very smart. We are not smart in our primitive brain. We are activated. We are upset. In the sympathetic part of our brain, we want to fight, we want to freeze or fight. And that's just not useful for a relationship. So if you want to heal what's going on in a relationship, it's about the communication, but the end result may be two people saying, you know what, we gave it a good shot and we're not together. We shouldn't be together. Or someone says, you know, I really tried at this job, but I can't work with a boss like this. And now I know it. See, there's the clarity again. Now I know it. I shouldn't be here. Now I've got to make a plan to get a new job and get out.
Okay.
Is that clear about the limitations?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay. Would like to talk more about, relationship. Maybe I'm deviating from the topic of EFT tapping, but still I would love to know from you, because I feel that, and I know that you are the master in this, especially in relationship also. Yes, would love to know more about, because what I have heard about relationship, making the relationship work is the first thing is you should loving yourself, right? You should be loving yourself first, and whatever you want in your partner, you should have that in you first. So do you think both concepts are really true?
They're true, but it's more complex than that, right? So what happens is that people come from a place of scarcity and they think someone else is going to fix them or fill the void. So what I see is that a lot of people aren't working on themselves and they think the new boyfriend is going to help, and it doesn't. So it's a little bit too easy and simple to say, well, if you have those qualities in yourself, you'll attract that. Doesn't always happen that way, right? So you've got to always work on yourself. And why would someone be attracted to someone who is always emotionally distant? Why do you have 3 partners in a row who are emotionally distant? Why did you end up with 3 crazy bosses? Oh, it's just the industry. Maybe not, right? So the come from is what's really important. Are you coming from a place of, I'm not whole and I need a partner to fix me? Or are you coming from a place of satisfaction, right? And fulfillment? Eckhart Tolle says that, you've got to manifest from a place of wholeness instead of this idea of, I don't know what words he uses, but scarcity and lack. So you see that a lot. Someone breaks up in a relationship and a month later they've head over heels. Oh, now I found the one. It's like, no, you didn't. You just found someone else is going to do the same thing because you haven't healed your fear of abandonment, your fear of, some people are afraid to be close. So they're the ones who are always distant. They get into relationships, but the minute someone gets too close to them, they distance. It's one of the sabotage behaviors in my book is relationship drama. So people like drama so that they can keep the emotional intimacy away because it scares them. It's threatening. Remember, human beings are always trying to feel safe. So some people say, oh, I haven't found anybody in years. Are you looking? No, they don't want to be in a relationship because it signals a lack of safety or triggers for them something they experienced in the last relationship or in their upbringing. So they say they're looking, but they're not really. They don't want to be emotionally intimate with somebody else.
Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Yes. And about health, in my opinion, of course, it has worked for me when I tap, especially if I get, super or sometimes overwhelmed or, sometimes, too much tired. I do tapping, even without paying attention. I just do it for 2-3 minutes and I feel that, okay, I'm relaxed now. So, but that's a very small example of, physical healing. What is the end goal, or what is the limit? I would say that what extent EFT can work in solving health issues.
So I'm a psychotherapist, not a medical doctor. So I can only come at this from the emotional position. So what I say to people is, I can't tap on your fibromyalgia, or I can't tap on your migraine syndrome. But if you're willing to admit that emotional distress contributes to stress, contributes to the body breaking down, contributes to immune system dysfunction, then we can talk about the feelings, we clear those, and that's when the physical ailments start to clear up. And I've seen miracles, right? Again, not from a doctor's perspective, from an emotional psychotherapist perspective. And the limits are, I wouldn't be able to answer what the limits are.
No, I
But
would not say the limits, but the what extent. And I think you answered my question that okay, you have seen magics, right? I mean, magic happening in your clients, right? So I believe that there is, yeah.
because it's connected to stress relief. So we know now, nobody can argue now that stress does not hurt the body and hurt all the systems in the body. Nobody could argue that and get away with it now, right? It's 20,
Right.
whatever year it is. So what we do is take the stress load
Mhm,
off of your
mhm,
immune system,
mhm,
your vascular system.
mhm,
You start to sleep better. The first thing I healed in myself is intensive insomnia. Well,
mhm.
if you start to sleep better, all of your systems are going to work better. So,
Right.
we still look at it holistically. If you want to heal something in your body, we're going to heal something in your mind first.
Mm.
And I never tell people not to do Western medicine or not take the pills or anything. Never. That's not my business. But if you're stressing your body out with lack of sleep, poor eating, arguing all the time because you're stressed out with your boss or your partner or your kids, you're going to affect all those systems in your body. And then eventually what happens is we're human beings, and eventually some system breaks down.
Right.
Some system gets overloaded and says, stop. It's just it's being human. We can't avoid that.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I hope you're okay with, I'm picking up each and every topic of life, like started with relationship, then health, and and yes, and now coming to the finance part, Carol, and I would like to know what is the top most self-limiting belief that, people have around the world about finance.
It's interesting. I just did a class on this, and there might be several that I would consider being the top. And
Mhm.
I'll give you a couple of those. We have feelings, right? And then the beliefs. Some of the beliefs that are so important are people will say, I don't have what it takes. So they're blocking their success and their financial success because they were told they don't have what it takes. Another belief is life has to be a struggle. And if you think life has to be a struggle, then you can't accept energetically financial success coming into your life, because that would be a contradiction to your belief. We live out our beliefs no matter what. No matter what. Now, some people will say, well, my parents taught me that money's bad. People who are financially wealthy are greedy or evil. And if that's your belief, you're not going to want to be one of those successful people, right? So those are the beliefs that get in the way. Then there are the feelings, which is, again, what I touched on earlier, which is if someone's afraid to stand out or be visible, they won't get their book published. I'm dealing with a couple of people now who they don't want their book. They're trying to write the book and they don't want it out there because they're afraid now of being visible. Some people feel guilty about money. So people say, well, my life is okay. They'll say, my life is okay. Why do I want more? Wanting more is bound. So then they've got a feeling about that. So the most important thing is the feelings and the beliefs dictate your behavior. And when you see yourself sabotaging, it means because you have a feeling or a belief that says financial abundance or success is wrong or bad or not for you. That something about it feels like I shouldn't have it. I shouldn't accept it. I shouldn't go after it. So you asked for one, and I would say there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on in people's minds and energy systems about financial success.
All right. Okay. Now about, I have a question about the global situations that we have, right now, the war happening in around the world, right? What do you think, which emotion or, what is happening? Why is there any thing that you think that, okay, this is missing in people and that is why this is happening? From emotions point of view, what do you see?
That's not a great topic for me to answer. I'm not very good about that one. I would just say it's fear. It's fear that makes people want to fight. It's fear that makes people want to get more. It's fear that people think you're in the wrong place and I'm in the right place. If you're asking me one feeling that's involved in all the conflict, it's fear. Fear and insecurity.
All right. And I was just going through, like tapping solution website where, Nick Ortner has given, the tapping points, and, each tapping point has, the impact. Like if you tap here, it is for, removing fear, and for, collarbone, there is different emotions are attached to different tapping points. For your book, self-sabotage, that feeling. Is there any specific point that you suggest people to tap on, or?
And that doesn't, and originally acupuncturists would say that this feeling is for this, but I don't split it up. There's no reason to split it up. And that's not
Okay.
true. If someone just tapped here, that doesn't get rid of their fear.
Okay.
Or doesn't, in other words, what we're doing is a whole system. So for SAP, what we're doing is accessing the entire acupuncture, acupoint system and clearing it. Because again, there's this very holistic part of it where it's not just one part of our body. It's not just one meridian. So each point is connected to a meridian. And yes, it's associated with some feelings, right? This is the trauma spot, right? But you don't just tap there if you have trauma. That doesn't make any sense. So you want to do the whole system. Each point, it takes a few seconds, right? So it doesn't really matter. So sometimes people say, well, when I'm in public, I just like to tap here. Well, that's okay if that's your favorite. But I recommend people tapping on the entire system.
Okay. Can I, make a request that if we can tap, for a couple of minutes on whatever topic you suggest, whatever you feel so.
Well, I would ask you is what would you like to tap on? Around stress, around abundance, around money, around, not getting clear like I have in the yes code. What is it that you'd like to tap on that might be useful? We could do two things. We could either do a real issue that you're having, or we could just do a demonstration. It's up to you. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Okay. We can take a topic like, a stress, probably a regular stress that people feel, and yeah.
So there's not a human being who wouldn't say they're stressed in some part of their life, one day during the week or some part of the day. So it applies to everyone. And when we get stress relief, it applies to your whole body. So it affects your whole body and your mind and your energy system. So when some people come to me and say, I didn't do my homework, I don't really know what to tap on, I'm not sure, I say, well, then when in doubt, tap on stress of the day every single day until I see you again. Oh, I could have done stress relief? Yes, we all can do stress relief and really affect our body, life, our happiness, our family, and then it goes out to the world.
Right.
So the first thing, as you know, is, would you like to do this for real for you, that you have stress?
Yeah, I have stress. Let's take a real life example. So for example, like it's almost 9:15 p.m. here, and tomorrow, that is Saturday, Sunday, I have a guest coming in from another city. So we'll be receiving him, and the whole 2 days will be very packed. For interview purposes coming, we have invited him. So but today, and like there is something going in my mind that okay, 2 days will be too much hectic. And I was thinking that okay, why I schedule 2 days interview, our interview, I should have taken a break a little bit. But then I was not sure whether you will be available next, I don't know. so too much things happening back to back, and yeah.
So would you call it overwhelm or stress or anxiety, anticipating this person coming for 2 days? What would you call
I'm
it?
feeling that like everything should go well, including this interview. I should have planned better, tomorrow, it should go well. I should be feeling energetic all the time, and everything should go well. That's what.
So you're feeling pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure that things should go well. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you want to number it? Just so you know, after years and years of doing tapping, sometimes I don't do the numbers. Sometimes it doesn't work to do the numbers, and it's okay. Would you like to put a number on how stressed out you feel about this pressure to do everything right? And have the right energy? Would you like to put it?
Yeah. Even before this interview started, like I had this number of, around 8 out of 10. But even without doing tapping and talking with you, I'm at probably, 5. Okay.
But it's still there.
But it's
It's a
still,
lot.
yes, but it's still there.
Okay. Would you call it anything else? I use the word pressure and stress. Would you like to call it anything else? Dread,
Okay.
anticipation, anything else that you think is accurate? Because I want to use your word.
At the same time, I like this also, this stress. I'm enjoying this pressure inside that because I like this hustle. I want to get busy and I'm busy very much. It's a mixed feeling. So,
So do you actually want to tap and get the stress down or not?
yes. I want to.
Okay. But it's mixed. I understand that there's mixed feelings there. Okay,
Mhm,
here we go. And I don't want to get hung up on the numbers because that's not useful.
mhm.
Okay, but start here and talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
Even though I feel this stress to make everything right,
Even though I feel this stress of making this everything right,
and I feel some pressure that it all has to go well,
and I feel some pressure that this all things should go well,
I accept who I am and how I feel.
I accept how I am and how I feel.
Even though I feel this pressure to make everything perfect,
Even though I feel this pressure to make everything feel perfect,
and I feel some regret about the planning,
and sorry, I feel
regret.
regret. Okay, and I also feel regret about this planning.
I accept who I am and how I feel.
I accept who I am and how I feel.
Good. 2 fingers, dominant hand, eyebrow point first.
Mhm.
I feel stressed out about everything I have to do.
I feel stress about everything I have to do.
I can feel the stress in my body.
I can feel the stress in my body.
I was feeling quite anxious about it,
I was feeling quite anxious about,
and I want everything to go well.
and I want everything to go well.
I really want everything to go well.
I really want everything to go well,
And I feel a lot of pressure.
and I feel a lot of pressure.
I feel burdened by it.
I feel burdened by it.
Sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
Sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
Good. We'll just do a very simple, deep breath. There's no right or wrong. How'd that feel?
Good, good. Even talking with people like you, as I said, I came from 8 to 5, and now at least I think 2 in one
2.
round only.
Good. 5 to 2. Well, what we're doing, as you know, what we're doing is just telling the truth and being. It's overwhelming. You put too much on your plate at once. You've got a lot going on. You feel the pressure. We're just naming the truth. But while we're naming the truth, we're using the calming effect of the tapping
Right.
to calm down that fight or flight response that gets all heightened in your body. So we're doing that at the same time. So 5 to 2 is a nice jump.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right.
Pleasure.
All right. Yes. So, I mean, what else? I'm now open. Whatever you want to share to people, and I would say anything that you want to share to my audiences on this platform. Here, as I said, people are not much quite open, to all this concept. But yes, people are slowly, finding benefits of, different energy healing techniques. I would ask you and request you to, share whatever you want to share that can, generate belief in EFT and energy healing in general.
Well, the first couple of decades, the scientific research was not very good about tapping. Nobody had done it. And now there are so many scientific studies that support what we're doing. So before, people feel good, right? They'd feel good, they'd feel better, they'd tell their friend, they'd quit smoking. Somebody would call me, call a practitioner and say, oh, I heard I can do this. But it wasn't backed by science. Now it's backed by science. Now there are real studies that say we've put this group of people through EFT and this group of people through nothing, and it is obvious. It's very, very clear. So it's not about convincing people, but people who need to have the left brain science. Now it's out there. Now they can't argue with science. Before they could argue with that, well, there's not any science backing it up and it looks weird. It does look weird. Of course it looks weird, right? And the same thing with gratitude, and that's part of my next book about gratitude, is
Mhm.
There is scientific research that
Mhm.
shows what gratitude can do to your physiology. So it
Wow.
doesn't just make you feel better.
Oh,
There
it's your
is
next book on gratitude only, is it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
you and I were a good match. It's not about convincing other people. You're saying people in your country aren't very open to it. Why not? Are they afraid of it? Do they think it looks too weird? Why aren't they open? And then the question is, well, do you want to feel better or not? Do you want to do methods to help your stress relief? Do you want to increase your gratitude in your life? Do you want to stop procrastinating? Because here is a technique that has worked for years on these issues. Do you want to release your blocks to success? So, it's, I remember in the beginning when we were so excited about it, and a lot of people were negative. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that's silly. It's 25 years later.
Mhm.
Nothing silly about it. There are workshops around the world. I'm going to Australia in May to teach a 3-day workshop on it. People teach it in, I don't know how many countries, 20, 30 countries. They're
Mhm.
practicing all over the world because it works. So one thing I would say is that if it didn't work so well, it wouldn't have maintained and increased its popularity,
Mm.
right? EFT couldn't stay around
Mhm.
if it didn't work.
Mm.
And it's working beautifully for physical ailments, for emotional conflicts, for relationship distress, for financial success and abundance, for sabotage behavior, for clarity, for people wanting to live a more peaceful, calm life. So it's working incredibly well for thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So I'm not sure what else to add to that except to say
Right.
it wouldn't stick around.
Mm.
It wouldn't be around if it didn't work so well, because there's a lot of word of mouth where someone calls me and says, oh my gosh, you helped my friend a year ago. That's how we often get referrals, is someone says,
Mm.
wow,
Mm.
somebody lost 25 pounds. How'd they do that? Oh, somebody is, increased their income dramatically. How'd they do that? They got their limiting beliefs and their emotional conflicts out of the way. Well, how do you do that?
Oh.
EFT, you don't do it just by journaling. It doesn't work that way. You want to change the energy in your system.
Mm. Right. Absolutely. And I would love to be, your representative in India, especially for releasing this book, Carol. If you just let me know how can I be helpful to you, when you release this book. So we can interact on that offline.
So you were asking me if there's anything else I want to talk about. The reason I love talking about EFT and teaching about it, and I've been to, Amsterdam and England and Canada and France and Belgium and Australia teaching it, is because when you see someone stop suffering in a very short period of time, because all they did was use tapping, it's incredibly satisfying. It's incredibly exciting. It's thrilling. And then you can teach them how to use it on themselves so they're not tied. They don't have to always go to a therapist or always come to a counselor week after week. Some people need to, right? We all have issues. We all have families. We all have problems. But it is so gratifying to see someone have that look on their face of, oh my gosh, I've never felt so confident or happy, or I'm sleeping again, or I'm not worried about my boss, or the fighting in our couple has come down, or I'm handling the kids better, or whatever the issue is. You know how many issues we can work on, anything really.
Mm.
It's so gratifying. And as I help people with physical ailments, not from the medical point of view,
Yeah.
but because I'm helping them reduce their stress. So I've worked on a lot of people with migraine syndrome.
Mm.
And, it's called many different things, and there are many different kinds of migraines. And they say, I don't get it. What did you just do? I taught you how to tap on your acupressure system
Mhm.
and reduce stress, tension, and anxiety.
Mhm.
And that helps your physiology.
Wow. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I feel that it's validation for me that I'm on right track with this theme, that is extreme gratitude, because people like you are the experts in, EFT, in psychology and in all this concept. So it feels like my concept is validated today. I'm on right track. So
You are so on the right track, and we need people like you talking both about EFT but also about gratitude.
thank you.
So what's so interesting about the finances and people struggling with success is what I found is 2 years in a row, I made the exact same amount of money. And it's in my original abundance book. Well, you can't do that unless you have a comfort zone. So I had a lid on top of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
had some, unconscious reason that I was blocked.
Mm-hmm.
And once I took the blocks off with EFT, I didn't do anything else. I didn't get a different job, right? I didn't do any other techniques. Once the blocks came off, then you're able to go up and up and up
Mm-hmm.
wherever you want to improve in your life. So I didn't actually know the source of that. I didn't know why I was stuck at that number. All I knew is I was stuck. And that's what I love doing, is helping people get unstuck. That's really what I'm doing, is helping people move forward, get unstuck, because EFT helped me so much in every part of my life. I'm the person, I always work on myself first.
Wow. I'm really, really, really grateful for whatever you've shared with me today. It is, it's a blessing. I would say it's a blessing to have conversation with people like you.
I feel great about our conversation. I'm happy to have met you this way. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm thrilled, and for reading the Yes Code and telling people about it. So thank you. Thank you. It was a great interview. I've been interviewed a lot. This was a great interview, and I
Thank you.
really appreciate you, and I appreciate your theme.